day, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fruhan Landman from Key Wealth, and in this video we're going to look at the Bestmed Pace range. In the past I did them separately. I did a Pace 1 and 2 video, but in this video I'm going to compare them a little bit, although Pace 4 is very expensive and there aren't a lot of clients that can afford it or that's on it, but the structure of these options are fairly similar. So I am going to go through it quickly, but the reason why I'm doing it as a comparison is so that you as a member can decide whether you want to increase your cover or maybe downgrade. So there is a video that's also out for the Beat range. So if you're on a Pace 1 or Pace 2 and you don't really need it and you want to downgrade maybe to Beat 3 Plus or something like that, you can check out that video, or if you're interested in a hospital plan. But yes, without further ado, let's dive into it. So the Bestmed Pace 1 series is Bestmed's comprehensive range. So all of these options are very competitive in the market and very rich with benefits. I'm going to talk about the things that I deem as very important. So at any stage you can read through the brochure or pause the video or just have a look at it, but I'm just going to skim over it and give a high-level overview. So all of these options are 100% scheme tariff options, so make sure that you've got a good gap cover. Even if you're on a good medical aid, a gap cover is always important, because if a doctor charges you 200 or 300%, or sometimes they charge even more, then you're covered by your gap cover for those and not out of pocket. So make sure that you've got that. Then remember that Bestmed pays for take-home medicine when you were hospitalized, but important, you need to get it at the hospital's pharmacy and not the pharmacy at a hospital. So it must be the hospital's dispensary, then they pay for 7 days. So that's very, very nice. If you get it at any other pharmacy, they'll only cover the script up to 550 Rand on Pace 1, 600 Rand on Pace 2 and Pace 3, and 700 Rand on Pace 4. Important, it has to be on the day that you are discharged, so very important. Then these options do make provision for some biological medicine, so it's good that you've got that on there. The limits are fairly or higher on the Pace 2, Pace 3 and Pace 4 options. They do pay for treatment in mental health facility, and then all things are covered by 100% scheme tariff, like I mentioned earlier. So important here is the maxillofacial surgery. Pace 1 has got a limit of 16,500 Rand, where on Pace 2, 3 and 4 it's paid up to 100% scheme tariff, so there's no limit on that. It's an unlimited benefit. Dental and oral surgery, there is some limits on that. So 10,000 Rand on Pace 1, and you can see that they increase it up to 25,000 Rand on Pace 4. There's an overall annual limit on prosthesis, so Pace 1 114,000, and then as much as 170,000 on Pace 4. Now these sub-limits, if you cannot use more than that for prosthesis, so very important to take note of that. Then on your internal prosthesis, there are a lot of sub-limits. You can see here they mention sub-limits per beneficiary per year. So this is per beneficiary, where the overall limit is per family. So there's a lot of things there, like your vascular prosthesis, your pacemakers, spinal things, drug-eluting stents, meshes, etc. And a popular one, these lens implants for cataract surgery, where they put a new lens into your eye. So all of these increase as you take one of the higher options. So I'm going to pause here. If one of those are important to you, you can have a look at that. Okay, then the next one that's very important is internal prosthesis on joints. It's an exclusion, your joint replacements on Pace 1. So if you need a hip or a knee replacement, it has to be because of an accident or PMB condition, and not because of age or BMI or wear and tear. Your joint replacements are covered on Pace 2, 3 and Pace 4, and then again up to certain limits. So make sure that you fall within those limits, but the limits can be increased if you've got a good gap cover. So gap covers have what they call a sub-limit enhancer, and then once you've reached those limits, you can go a little bit over and above, and your gap cover will pay for that. There are benefits for external prosthesis. This is like an arm and a leg on these options. Your radiology, pathology, those things are all covered. I'm going to pause or stop here again at specialized diagnostic imaging. So those are your expensive tunnel scans. So on Pace 1, you've got 41,840 for your CT and MRI scans with a 2,000 Rand co-payment, and then one PET scan per beneficiary per year. So on your lower end, like the hospital plans, these limits are reduced quite a lot, and then you also don't really have a benefit for a PET scan. On Pace 2 and 3, you've got 43,000 Rand, so slightly higher, slightly less co-payment, and then also one PET scan, and then 47,000 Rand on your Pace 4, 1,500 Rand co-payment, and again one PET scan. Oncology covered at 100% of scheme rates. Important, you have to use your Icon network, and then this is for Pace 1 and Pace 2, and then Pace 3 and 4 has got a very comprehensive oncology benefit. So with Bestmed, if you're diagnosed for cancer or with cancer and your treatment plan does not fall within this benefit, you can request an upgrade and Bestmed can approve it so that you can move up to a higher option or pay a higher premium, but you'll get a very good benefit. So that's a very nice thing. Breast surgery for cancer, very important. The unaffected breast will not necessarily be treated unless it's a PMB procedure or PMB provisions and your pre-authorization and funding guidelines. But again, if you've got a good gap cover, some gap covers do provide you with a rand amount for the non-affected healthy breast. So that's also a very nice thing to have a gap cover for, and then a person can assist with prosthetics or double mastectomies and things like that. So very important to have a good gap cover. A new thing that was introduced is medical necessity breast reduction. So in certain procedures, on Pace 3 and 4, there's 100,000 Rand per family for breast reductions, and that would be, if it causes health problems. So Bestmed had a lot of increases on their cochlear implant benefits this year. So you can see here 250,000 Rand on Pace 1, 285, 320 and 350 on Pace 4. So that's very, very nice. They've got the advanced illness benefit, and then the day procedures, which is covered at day hospitals. Just make sure that if you don't go to the correct day hospital here, there's a 2,872 Rand co-payment. Bestmed does provide you with international travel cover, 90 days and 5 million per family, limited to R1 million if you go to the USA, and then business travel is only 60 days. Let's talk about the out-of-hospital benefits. So these options, the Pace range is very comprehensive when it comes to out-of-hospital benefits. And remember that you've got your medical scheme savings account, and once that has been depleted, you switch over to yours, what we call the scheme benefit. And then this is what your overall day-to-day limit would be. So 13,000 Rand for an individual on Pace 1, 27,000 Rand for a member plus one. So that can be a parent with a child, 2 adults, however you structure it, 2 adults and 2 children. That would be the benefits that you get. And you can see here that it goes up on Pace 2 to 17,034. Pace 3 is 23 and a whopping 47,000. Pace 4, 45,000 Rand for one member and 73,000 Rand for a member plus one. Now, very important here, if you've depleted your full day-to-day benefit, so you've used 27,000 Rand of your overall day-to-day limit, your medical aid is basically depleted and you've got nothing left. But if you've not depleted that, you have for a family 5,700 Rand for doctors and specialists. If you've depleted that, but you still haven't reached your 27,000 Rand, then you still have your dentistry benefit, you still have medical appliances, hearing aids, you still have everything else going. But you won't be able to see a doctor or a specialist. So just take note that you can deplete a sub-limit but still have money left in your overall limit, meaning you can still use your medical aid but not necessarily for the benefits that have been depleted. Everything is not subject to the sub-limit, so we'll have a look at it. The brochures at least describe it very, very nice. You can see here GPs and specialists subject to overall day-to-day limit, meaning it's included. For your basic and specialized dentistry, you've got 10,000 Rand on Pace 1, which is very, very nice. And then 17,000 Rand on Pace 2, more or less the same on Pace 3, and then a 26,000 Rand on Pace 4. So you'll see here that when you claim here, it uses your savings first. Your basic dentistry would first come from your preventative benefit. That's your consultation, the scaling, the polishing, those things. And then once your preventative benefits have been used and your savings have been depleted, then it will go to your general overall day-to-day limit. A benefit for orthodontic dentistry, so this is subject to pre-authorization, so always make sure that you apply for that first. Reach out to us if you need assistance so that we can get that going for you. What's cool about these options, they do also pay for medical aid, so apparatus and appliances. So there's a lot of cool things like a blood pressure meter or a CPAP machine or something like that that you can claim here. It is also subject to your overall day-to-day limit, so just take note of that. Wheelchairs, you can also get that, but again subject to the limit of medical aids, apparatus, etc. Hearing aids, it does require a quotation and a motivation and an audiogram, but there's an additional 10,000 Rand on Pace 1. Pace 2 and 3 gives you 33,000 Rand, and then Pace 4 a 36,000 Rand. So this is every 2 years. This is not subject to your overall day-to-day benefit, so that's kind of cool. Your insulin pumps, this is excluding the consumables. There's no benefit on Pace 1, 2 and 3, but it is covered on Pace 4 for 53,000 Rand for the year. Right, on this option you can also make use of supplementary services. So supplementary services are things like physios, OTs, speech therapists. It's I almost want to say it's any one that's not a GP, a nurse, or a specialist. So that would all fall under supplementary services, and a very rich 11,500 and 70,000 Rand on this Pace 1 option. It's a slightly lower amount, 8,000 Rand on Pace 2, and then 7,000 on Pace 3, and then 14,000 on Pace 4. So if that's an important benefit, make sure that you're on the right plan for that. Again, it's your savings first, then your benefit for supplementary services once that's done. Bestmed does pay for wound care post-op, so that's also a cool thing that you can claim for. And Bestmed has on the Pace range a very comprehensive optical benefit. So within a PPA network, you've got 1,270 Rand for your frame on Pace 1, and then it covers your lenses. And then on Pace 2 and 3, 1,325 Rand, and the same on Pace 4. If you do not go to a PPA network, then these limits would apply. Basic radiology and pathology, so these are your X-ray, black and white X-rays and blood tests. 8,000 Rand on Pace 1 and 2, more or less the same on Pace 3, and then 14,000 Rand on Pace 4. Your specialized diagnostic imaging, this is the exact same benefit as what we discussed in hospital, as it's an in and out of hospital benefit, so I'm not going to talk about that again. Oncology within the ICON network, so very important, and then Bestmed allows for your upgrades subject to approval. On these plans, Bestmed also provides you with chronic conditions or chronic medicine. So CDLs are chronic diseases that all medical schemes have to provide medicine for by law. So on the Pace 1, if it's a non-formulary tablet or medicine, there's a 25% co-payment. It's reduced to 20 on Pace 2, 15 on Pace 3, and 10% on Pace 4. So if you've got very expensive chronic medicine and it's within the CDL and PMB chronic list, then you can reach out to us to see if we can assist you with either finding medicine on the formulary or to check whether it's the right option in terms of your co-payment. The non-CDL conditions, so this is conditions that's covered over and above what the law says medical aid should provide for. There's 7 on Pace 1, 20 on Pace 2 and 3, and 29 conditions on Pace 4. And then Bestmed provides you with 16,000 Rand for this, and it's not subject to your overall day-to-day limit. So this would be something like ADHD medicine. You can get that on this option as well. 22,000 Rand on Pace 2, 35 on Pace 3, 50,000 Rand on Pace 4. So very rich in terms of medicine on Pace 4. Biological medicine is primarily for Pace 2, 3 and 4. And most of these are for like cancer or autoimmune disease that you would use this. Very high limits of 600,000 Rand on the Pace 4 option. Acute medicine, that's your script. So 6,000 Rand on Pace 1, more or less the same Pace 2, a little bit less on Pace 3, and then a high 16,000 Rand on Pace 4. This is subject to your overall day-to-day benefit. Over-the-counter medicine is covered by for 1,214 Rand on Pace 1, 2 and 3. On Pace 4 it comes out of your savings account. The preventative care benefits, very rich options in terms of that. You've got your flu vaccines, pneumonia vaccines, travel vaccines, contraceptives that's paid for, IUDs that are paid for, mammograms, colon cancer screening, HIVs, PSA prostate screening, HPV vaccinations and pap smears. I've just highlighted here that on Pace 2, 3 and 4 you also have bone density tests and then glaucoma screening ages above 50. So you can pause the video a little bit here to make sure that you can go through this. These benefits, what's nice is it's covered not by your savings and also not by your overall day-to-day limit, but from your risk benefit. In other words, Bestmed pays for it from their pocket. Preventative dentistry, they pay for the consultations, the photos, the sealing for kids, which is very nice, the scaling, the polishing and the fluoride treatment. There's maternity benefits on these options, so 9 consultations, antenatal consultations, 1 postnatal, 2 ultrasounds, and then also 145 Rand for your preggy vitamins. And these are the prices, so just below 6,000 Rand a month for Pace 1 for a principal member, Pace 2 8,766, Pace 3 10,000 Rand, and then Pace 4 12,500 Rand per principal member. If you've got any questions on how these options work or you need to know a little bit more, please reach out to me and then would gladly be able to assist you with an option change or a new medical aid if you're switching from a different scheme. You must have a wonderful day.